Okay, dreamer please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So here we are again with Orbs and Globes. I've gone through them quite a number of times, but here's a recap on how you can get the common orb to the skill orb to the globe. You need to farm for your Gigantus, Avalanche and Lizardra mats, and along with 1 million gold, 1 forgotten memory and 3000 red runes, you can get a common orb which can only be used by level 40 heroes. After which you can use a plus 20 accessory and get the skill orb, and then after that throw in another 20 million gold with Crimson Essence and you get the globe, which can only be used by level 60 heroes, okay? So with all that in mind, I'm sure many of you are wanting to craft orbs but still are not too sure which are the most important to craft. Okay, so firstly, let me just go through with you the common orbs. These two are the most important. The HP orb unfortunately doesn't really get used from what I've seen. Very seldom, maybe in future, okay, when you have already set up your offense and defense orbs, you can start looking at HP orbs, and they are usually used for tanks in PvP. So outside of tanks, these are not so recommended. Because even for tanks, defense orbs kind of help in terms of building the hero's overall bulk. And of course for attack orbs, you definitely want to give them to your offense oriented heroes such as your damage dealers such as Rin, Teo, Ace. So what are the accessories that are most important? Because orbs act as the 4th accessory and they are usable in both PvP and PvE, even though the stats that they give only apply to PvP, at this point in time it is most strategic to make orbs that can be used on both modes, PvE and PvP. So for this reason, these 4 are the most possibly used in both modes at this point in time. Okay, for the Rage accessory, many people do need the Rage accessory in PvP, especially if you have a Revive pet. There is no point in using the Revival accessories at all. So having the Rage orb allows you to put this aside and give your heroes 3 other accessories that can complement their abilities, or even give you a chance to have a full set in PvP or PvE with the Rage effect active as an orb. So this is probably one of the most important and probably most beneficial one at this point in time. Of course, if you are using this orb on your PvP team and you're running a burst team, one issue you may have is that Teo doesn't need this at all. Okay, so that's when you can look at using the Revive effect as an orb instead. On the other hand, you can also craft the Destiny orb. The Destiny Orb is actually very useful for both PvE and PvP, especially since I just mentioned Teo. Teo actually makes use of this Destiny Orb really well, so you can actually free up that slot in his current accessory lineup for something else instead. But think about it, this is also beneficial in PvE because you can use this Destiny effect in the orb slot and then give your damage dealer something else like the Ace Earring or the Transcendent accessory to maximize your damage output, or even the Cosette Ring if that's something you have. So this is very useful in both situations and also one of the most recommended orbs to make first. However, of course, Destiny orbs do not come so easily. The next one will be Time Acceleration. This is mainly for support, tanks, debuff casters in both PvE and PvP, and even for certain heroes such as Shane. I'm not sure if she's still going to be used at this point in time, but Shane does make good use of the Time Acceleration effect. So if you have this for her in that particular tank team that we've been seeing for the past couple of weeks, you know, it actually frees up that slot and you can give her an additional, maybe an additional Time Acceleration or even additional Ace Earring to maximize her attack speed. And even if your hero currently in PvP doesn't use Time Acceleration, you can also use this effect on them so that they will be able to get a faster skill cooldown overall, and that will definitely benefit. So Time Acceleration has a very universal beneficial effect, okay, regardless of hero. Same goes for the Revive. It is definitely another option to look at, especially in future, you know, from what I've seen in the Korean YouTuber plays, because his team is so strong that he doesn't really need the Rage. It takes a long time to kill his heroes, so having a Revive orb with no immortality could be an option in future as well. Especially in future, maybe when tank meta comes back or when the meta is more balanced between both ends and you can run a tank team, you don't really need an immortal effect, okay, because you're just so tanky. and that's when the revive orb is going to help you in PvP. But in PvE, I'm sure most people do not have the space for the revive or the rage because they want to maximize damage output. So some players actually just go all out on effects, damage effects or time acceleration effects only in PvE, especially in Guild Raid. So having this additional rage or revive orb can help those players in actually prolonging their battles. So just some other special accessories and effects to look at for orbs, but this is more specific to defense-oriented heroes. Okay, these are the Indomitable, Lethargy, and Mother Nature effects. Okay, they are mostly used for these tank and support heroes, and in future when we have Mythic Eileen, Scott Plus, Spike, they could potentially use these effects as well. And because these effects are used by a very specific group of heroes, it is not a priority right now, but just to keep in mind. Then for PvE, we have these 5 orbs effects that you could potentially craft, but as you know, these effects do not play a big role in PvP except for the Destiny and Time Acceleration, so I don't think the rest should be a priority at this point in time. Okay, especially because you want to maximize the use of your orbs right now to be able to be used in both PvP and PvE. As time goes by, you can start looking at building orbs for PvE heroes as well, and some of the more important ones of course include the Destiny and Time Acceleration. For Time Acceleration, you usually just need one Time Acceleration orb because only one hero will be using the Time Acceleration set. Okay, but for your damage dealers, you can actually go for triple Destiny and 1 Transcended. So this was recommended by Happy Buddha himself because he feels that if you have an attack speed buffer, then you don't really need the Ace Earring on your damage dealer. You can actually use a Transcended Earring or something like that. Right now, Transcended accessories are less preferred compared to the Destiny set, right? So if you have enough orbs to go around for your PvP team and you have extra Transcended accessories, you can actually make a Transcended orb to boost your PvE damage dealer's damage. And another option for orbs in PvE include the Full Moon and Time Reversal effects. Okay, they are usually used by other heroes that are not your healer and not your damage dealer. Maybe for raids, you will be using them on heroes like Len. So yeah, but this is not a priority right now, so just to keep in mind as well, for future when you have more orbs to spare, you can actually build such sets. So at this point, you may be thinking, okay, I'm ready to make the orb, and what exactly should I sacrifice? Which piece should I sacrifice? Does it even matter? Now, if you have many accessories of that particular kind, that particular set, I don't think it really matters because you have all the room to spare. All you need to look out for is your enchantments, okay? Of course, use the one with the worst enchantment at this point in time. But another consideration you can have in mind if you have limited accessories is that how you can actually use these sealed accessory effects, okay? These sealed accessories, hero accessories to guide your decision. Now, if you look at the current state, we do have the Ace Earring, which is used by speed heroes in PvP and by damage dealers, and also Shay in PvE. So with this in mind, you will be thinking, okay, then it will make more sense to sacrifice the earring to give my speed hero an orb, right? And yeah, that should be the train of thought because your speed earring slot will be used by the Ace Earring, which means that particular set is going to be broken up by the Ace Earring, and you can afford to actually let out that particular piece to be made into a skill orb. Okay, same in future, you'll be having the Chris Earring, which is going to be used by debuff casters such as Ming and Myth Eileen, and in PvE it is also sometimes used by Rachel to prolong her debuff duration, her burn duration. So these are going to be things in future you may want to consider if you still do not have enough accessories, okay, how you can sacrifice certain pieces to accommodate for these sealed accessories. And in future, you'll have the Karin's Earring as well, which is mainly used by Alice, Serena and Lena, which is also a reason why I feel that these heroes also mostly use the Time Acceleration set. The Time Acceleration Earring can be used to make the Time Acceleration orb instead, okay, so that you have that earring slot for this particular accessory. Of course, we have the Rudy's necklace, which is an amazing accessory effect which gives evasion, and in PvP many heroes will have this in future. So again, this necklace slot is going to be occupied in future by this particular item. Currently we do have the Advanced necklace, okay, mainly used by support heroes in PvP, and in future you can use it for Clemith and Spike Plus as well if they do have a space in the meta, which I do not foresee, okay? So maybe you don't want to sacrifice the necklace too soon depending on what heroes you use. And then the last two rings are kind of the same, except the Cossack ring is going to be replaced in future by the Cowl ring, which does a lot more fixed damage in PvP. The Cossack ring is mostly going to be a PvE thing, okay, because it will do more damage than Cowl ring in PvE. So for your PvE side of things, okay, your PvE damage dealer is probably going to use the Ace Earring or the Cossack ring. So this means that you need to keep the Destiny necklace for sure, because they will be using that certain slot for the Destiny necklace. But if you're going to use a Cossack ring and not the Ace Earring, then there's no use for the Destiny ring in that case, right? So you can actually use the Destiny ring. Same thing goes for the Ace Earring logic, okay? Because the Ace Earring is going to be a fixed slot there's no point in you keeping a Destiny earring, okay? That may be one of the considerations you have, and you can use the Destiny earring as an additional orb, right? That's a possible option you can consider. Of course, I would strongly recommend, if you do not have the fourth piece or spare copy that you can play around with, then maybe just hold back for a little while, and hopefully you get that soon before you actually break up your 3-piece set. So going back to PvP in terms of the Rage and Revive options, right now the most used piece is the Ace Earring. So there's a higher tendency for you to probably sacrifice the Rage Earring to allow yourself to still be able to have the Rage effect and to use the Ace Earring at the same time. And this is something you have to go through for each hero and think to yourself, if you do not have enough accessories, which are the pieces you can play around with and use them for orbs, okay? Because I am a player that doesn't have that many accessories, so I do have this problem and I do want to make my orbs. And one of the issues that I have is that after making the orb, you realize that you cannot equip the orb, right? If you make 4 pieces of Rage orbs right now, and then your Ace doesn't fulfill the level criteria, then in a way you're kind of wasting that Rage effect away, because you can't use it. And then you have to find additional Rage accessories to make up for that missing effect. So that's actually putting yourself at an even worse situation. So please make sure that before you happily go on a orb making spree, you need to take all this into consideration first. The second issue is that you will have missing pieces and you have lack of replacements, right? So when I actually built my Rage orbs, there were these missing holes in my gear, and then I was like, oh, I need to fill them up, right? I need to find new effects, new accessory effects to put them there. And then I came to a point whereby I realized that I don't exactly know what is the best effect, because I still lack accessories in other sets, right? And for each hero, there may be just a limited number of effects that are beneficial for their skill set. And then I realized I may not have the most optimal alternative for this particular hero, even if I remove the Rage as an orb, right? So yeah, these are some things that you just need to keep in mind before you actually make the orb. And thankfully I still managed to shift around certain effects, because if you were to see here, if I were to make the Destiny orb using the Destiny earring as I was mentioning before, then I have to shift quite a number of accessories to accommodate for that missing Destiny earring. Because as you can see from here, I managed to put the Rage orb on my Rin. However, I will have a missing slot, so I intended to use the Destiny earring for that. But imagine if I use the Destiny earring for the orb instead, okay, and I gave that orb to Teal, and then I have to shift my Destiny ring to my Rin, and it's an entirely crazy shuffle of accessories. And if you were to lack just one piece, okay, of maybe a Mirage or maybe a Revive, your entire lineup will just be messed up, because one hero will just be missing that particular piece, and you won't have and you don't have enough Mirage or Revive accessories to replace for the empty slot. So yeah, it was actually more complicated than I thought when I was doing this, especially when you have a lack of accessories. Of course, if you have a lot of accessories, this is not a concern for you at all. The third issue is the missing enchantment stats, okay, as I mentioned a while ago. And that is that sometimes if you have limited accessory pieces and you still want to make an orb for that, you will be losing out on these stats. If these pieces are used in my current PvP team and I use them to craft to make the orbs, for example, some of them may have attack speed, then you have to try to ensure that whatever pieces that you intend to fill in the gap, they need to try to have almost the same level of enchantments. Otherwise, you will be losing out again in the stat department. So these are some considerations you also want to have. Okay, so again, if you have extra pieces, this is not a concern at all. So yeah, these are just some things I wanted to point out to you before you go making the orbs. Hopefully it is helpful, and if it did, do give it a like and subscribe to my channel. And if there are any other issues or thoughts you have, do leave in the comments for everyone. Okay, and big shout out to my channel members, Shilling, Gonzalo, Jude, Nick, Yamaki, Kevin, Harlan, JDN for the support. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much and see you!